Georgia is the country of winers, tangerines, and in general heaven on earth, for those who are willing and able to properly handle the ground. The climate of our small country is so diverse that they can grow everything from tropical fruits to berries from the far north. Just necessary to handle it smart.
My name
is Vladimir Unanyantsy, and today we will study the agricultural potential of Georgia. Our country is used to be identified with the wine and accordingly with grapes. So accustomed that this very grape played a dirty trick on us. This year the proposal significantly exceeds demand, and as a result it has caused a fall in prices and discontent among producers, simple peasants who cultivate wine for life and who do not care about the nuances of the market. The problem should be solved. Georgia is becoming an increasingly attractive country for foreign investment. Every year, foreign investment is growing. Several sectors are being specially marked here. These are energy, tourism, real estate, and agriculture. Also, a lot of investment goes into production. Sounds very interesting. The nuances, however, haven't gone away. It turns out that the right approach also needs to be found for the production of the wine. Those who managed to unravel the secret of the market are having success even now in a difficult economic situation. We can talk about wine for a long time, especially with such experts as Vadim Skordana. Good evening, Vadim. Thank you for accepting us at such a wonderful place. Vadim, Georgia has always been called a winery cradle, but if you try to objectively look at our current situation in this sphere, how are the things regarding Georgian wine now? What challenges or problems do we face today? The history of Georgian wine is first of all a class history. Very often its features depend on who is the host. It used to belong to peasants for a long time, up to the end of the 19th century, when aristocrats took initiatives. Thus we have received such brands like Napariuli, Tsinandali, Mukuzani and Gurjaani. This is a genesis of the Georgian wine. The third one is the Soviet one, though I can't really call it a genesis, for it is often considered now that Georgia has stuffed the Soviet Union with cheap and sour wine. Partly it was really so, but they never say about the reasons, and that was happening due to its cheapness. When a producer is told to provide a huge amount of wine at extremely low prices and due to the fixed date, there can be no quality in it. Such approach was brought by the state itself, and then the bourgeois appear on the market. And finally what we have now is that people of different professions started to deal with wine. Representatives of art, like artists, writers, even doctors. This is a very interesting thing, since a person who is to produce a limited amount of wine is doomed to make a non-standard product. He can't afford producing a regular saperavi, for example. He has to be distinguished, do various experiments to get the authentic product and so on. It has its effect, of course. You said that now various professionals start dealing with wine and it has a positive impact on the industry. But can the small entrepreneur compete with large companies? The fact is that these are a bit different cases. They are working for different segments of consumers. I can tell you that these small producers focus only on gourmet, but you know that any high-quality product can be produced always as piece goods.
Это просто другой сектор, другой формат существования.
And how are the small enterprises represented on foreign markets?
На мой взгляд, Грузии удалось главное.
I think Georgia succeeded in the main thing, like entering European market and managed to surprise the customer. These markets being overloaded with high-quality products, first of all from France and Italy, yet they accepted Georgian wine quite successfully. There was the only chance and it was fully taken. Europeans are now convinced that Georgian wine is a totally different product with different origin, not only geographically, but also in terms of technology. There are two types of difference mainly, what grape is like in the fermentation process and what holding capacity is being used. Actually, foreign customers was not aware of it and get to know such details just recently, for the first time in 8,000-year history of Georgian wine winery. Now I think we should expect and already have the renaissance of Georgian wine. There are even some foreign companies who already copy Georgian technology.
Грузинского. Они с этим, можно сказать, несколько лет назад как следует познакомились.
Большое спасибо.
Thank you, Vadim, for your conversation.
С нами побеседовать.
You are welcome. Good luck.
Находясь в гостях у...
While visiting Vladim's Kordana, we came across a sommelier from Moscow, Natalia Sorokina. Natalia, what is the reason of your visit to Georgia?
Я занимаюсь изучением грузинского вина.
I'm studying Georgian wine, assortment, modern tendencies of the winery, traveling around different regions of Georgia. Unfortunately, consumers' preference is not much taken into account now, since basically the cheapest brands are being imported, nothing of an authentic wine. I personally know only 2 brands that are distributed in Russia, and they are very expensive boutique wines. And what is bad is that after the returning of Georgian wine, some totally new brands started to appear. The ones that are not even presented in Georgia were made especially for the Russian market. This one is the cheapest and the worst one. When Georgian wine was about to return, there was a high interest in it, especially among older generation, but upon buying the wine, people started to get disappointed. Thus, the image of the Georgian wine suffered. That's why I try and do my best to conduct my own events alone and with wine specialists who know very little about Georgian wine, while European brands are represented quite well in Russia, and I try to show the best sides of Georgian wines.
Оно может быть безумного качества, совершенно невероятное вино.
However, it's not about wine only. Georgian soil may become more than the cradle of divine drink. Agriculture, indeed, is the wealth and the curse of our country. As experts say, the Georgians have everything in order to thrive, except for just one but a very important feature, the desire to learn how to use the potential of their land. However, there are some pleasant exceptions here also. After all, if you approach any business with knowledge and love, success is guaranteed. In agriculture, these 2 principles are simply irreplaceable.
Эти 2 принципа чрезвычайно важны. Это святая святых.
Behind these doors there are sanctum sanctorum. Young plants are grown and sold. George is in charge here.
Георгий, спасибо, что согласились принять.
Hello, George. As far as I know, this nursery garden can be called unique. Here seedlings are grown and then spread across the country.
Распространяют по всей стране.
Hello, the plants that you see here are imported from Italy and Poland. Our company cooperates with the world's leading manufacturers of seedlings. We can be boast of both Western and Eastern Georgian farms. Here we grow, breed and sell unique varieties. Today, greening is a very hot topic and we are actively involved in this process. In particular, we are working with City Hall of Tbilisi and intend to further develop so that our products to become popular and competitive in the Georgian market.
Георгий, вот это дерево, которое здесь...
George, this is a tree. It is, if I'm not mistaken, more than 100 years old. How difficult is it to grow such plants in our climate?
В климатических условиях.
Our company differs from others in the Georgian market by a wide range. We carefully select the varieties that you can freely grow in terms of our climate. Specifically, the olive tree, which we have already found a buyer for, as you correctly pointed out, is more than 100 years old. So anyone can come to us and choose a plant he likes.
Скажите, пожалуйста, вот этот бизнес выращивать саженцы.
Tell me please, this business of growing seedlings, is it in demand in Georgia and how promising are these farms?
Насколько перспективны подобные хозяйства?
First of all, I want to note that import of seedlings is not an option regarding business development. We must learn from the experience of developed countries and to grow everything by ourselves. For example, here's the hedge. Until recently, it was only imported, but we have already started to grow it on the site. It is very important that our country has similar facilities, but there are questions that need to be resolved at the legislative level. For example, the tender system. We are increasing the amount of our products, hiring local workers, but if a foreign company wins the tender being entirely dependent on imports, then it often just cannot fulfill its obligations. And it harms both the development of local companies and development of the country. I believe that local farmers need to be assisted so that seedlings grown in Georgia green our country.
А есть
Are
успешные
there
примеры?
successful examples? For example, this spring we started growing eucalyptus. This is a unique tree because it can be used in different fields, planting shelter belts, getting essential oils used in perfumery. Now we are negotiating with the Ministry of Infrastructure. Here we have not only commercial interest. Our country really needs shelter beds. This tree is very good for health. Our company has vast experience in this field, and I hope that the government will soon take up the matter.
Согласно независимому отчету,
According to the independent reports of the EU in 2015 in rural development and agriculture, Georgia took a big step forward involving the formation of about 900 farmers' cooperatives and more than 50 regional information and counseling centers. The volume of agricultural production is increased by 10%. This means that our country benefited from the EU getting financial assistance of 8 million euros. Good evening, Mr. KVARATSKHELIA. Thanks a lot for participating in our program. Good evening.
Скажите, пожалуйста, согласно статистике...
According to statistics, more than a half population of Georgia is dealing with agriculture today. But still, the work performance is much lower than average indicators in Europe. What is the reason and what is to be done with it by the state?
И как с этим борется государство?
There are several reasons. First of all, the lack of finances and modern technologies. The state is taking active steps to improve the situation in local agriculture. Our agency is offering a range of tools for the interested people so they could compensate for the deficiency themselves.
Что касается конкретных...
Regarding local producers, how was it changed the situation lately in terms of product quality, and due to what factor have it happened?
И благодаря чему это произошло?
This is a very good question. For the last years, the programs that are being conducted by the state create a solid basis for getting investments and implementing new modern technologies, which as a result leads to the improvement of quality.
Вы сказали о том, что одной из причин такого положения в сельском хозяйстве...
You mentioned the lack of finances. Can you please expand the topic and tell us where lies the problem and can we attract the capital?
Как этот капитал можно привлечь?
Agriculture is a capital-intensive branch. That's why this sphere requires the so-called long money and was suffering from the investment shortage too long. Also, banks were providing loans very reluctantly. All this was the reason why the state initiated a program of soft landing. This project has been implemented already for 3 years, and today about 1 billion lari has already been issued. What is the essence of the project? Okay, we are trying to make a basis for a long-term investment in agriculture. When a bank issues a loan, we are covering 11% of interest per annum, also fixing the upper limit under which banks make their offers.
Обыкновенному крестьянину, чтобы создать...
An ordinary peasant, in order to start and develop his farm, what should he do? How should he act in regards of banks? You mentioned banking rates. Can you please tell us in more details?
На этом остановиться.
Льготный агрокредит, как я уже говорил, предусматривает софинансирование.
As I've already noted, this project means the co-financing of loans. As a rule, a farmer pays from 0 to maximum 4%.
Вот эти проекты, они ориентированы...
Are these projects represented only in local market, or we can say that the export potential is also growing?
Да, конечно, в принципе.
Sure, we do not split this project by local and export markets. Also, I must note that in addition to 130 newly financed and established manufacturers, more than 600 were either reconstructed or modernized. And we are trying to assist and stimulate the projects that demand a long-term investment. And one of them is a project supporting fruit farms with up to 70% of the cost and seedlings up to 50% of the cost of irrigation systems, which gives the basis for further development.
Производство по переработке сельскохозяйственной продукции.
Большое
Thank you
спасибо.
for your conversation. You are welcome.
Удача, как известно, сопутствует смелым.
Fortune favors the brave. Our heroes were brave enough to move away from the familiar to any Georgian farmers' grapes, tangerines and apples, and have created a unique, profitable enterprise. But in order to compete even in traditional areas, we must strictly follow the rules of the game, and the most important is the quality of products. And who knows about quality more than the chief sanitary doctor?
Господин Каландадзе, большое спасибо, что согласились принять участие в нашей программе. Скажите, пожалуйста, как ваше агентство...
Mr. Kalandadze, please tell us how is your agency engaged in control? I would like to learn what the function of the agency is and what quality regulations are being used. National Agency for Food is being in charge of monitoring for 8 years. State control is carried out in several ways. The first is the inspection of businesses for compliance with the general health and safety standards. Second is the purchase of test batches in the local market and the subsequent laboratory control, which we call monitoring. And the third is the protection of plants. Here in these three areas are the essential functions of the National Agency for Food.
А как вы можете охарактеризовать ситуацию?
How would you describe the situation in the local market in terms of quality? How does the local producer cope with the standards defined by the legislation?
Которые определены законами.
Sure, when we have just begun to monitor control, the situation was not very good, but with the help of our European colleagues, we are gradually fulfilling the requirements for the harmonization with the European regulations. Georgia has already adopted several documents agreed with Europe according to which we act. Our inspectors work directly with businesses and give necessary recommendations. This is why the amount of safe products increases on the market from year to year.
Господин Каландадзе, а насколько...
How Georgian products are competitive in foreign markets, in particular the European?
В частности, на европейском рынке.
At this point, when it comes to animal products, they are not yet competitive. No product has been submitted to the EU market yet. Basically, there are represented wine, water, nuts and other food crop. For example, greenery, different types of fruits, dried fruits and so on. As to the products of animal origin, such as honey, fish, meat and dairy products, they are of a high-risk products and they provide a much higher requirements and standards. We are already working in this direction. We invite international inspectors and listen to their recommendations. And we are doing everything to ensure that the Georgian honey and fish became the first Georgian products of animal origin in the European market.
Одно из главных направлений грузинского сельского хозяйства.
One of the main directions of the Georgian agriculture is viticulture. What is the situation in this industry? What is being done in order that the Georgian wine took the place it deserves in the international market?
Вино действительно завоевало ту позицию на международных рынках, которую оно заслуживает.
This question can be answered in two positions. The first is when we conduct inspections at wineries. It is already noticeable that modern technology and equipment is being used in the industry. For example, special antivirus filters, which are very important. In the manufacturing process, heat treatment is no longer used. Now this function is performed by the filters. This keeps the taste of the product. This is a serious investment by the private sector. By the way, the state carries out a very interesting project. In particular, the National Agency for Food, with the support of the European program, has acquired a new weather station which is located in Kakheti district and covers the total area of vineyards in the region. Now, thanks to this and based on the analysis of drops of dew, we can provide each vineyard with accurate data regarding when and in what doses up to a specific day he can use the necessary medicines. This latest technology can be used not only in the cultivation of grapes but also in other areas of agriculture. Can also significantly increase the numbers of crops and reduce the cost.
მოსავლიანობის ზრდას და თანამედროვე ტექნოლოგიები, რა თქმა უნდა, ხელშეუწყობს ასევე ფასის დაწევას.
Конкретно, если можно остановиться на PGI.
Specifically, if you can tell us about the PGI system, has it already been applied in Georgia and how will it help local producers to go out not only to Europe but also to other world markets?
Местным производителям выйти не только на европейские, но вообще на мировые рынки.
ეს ძალიან საინტერესო თემაა. საქართველოს მოგვეხსენებათ არ არის დიდი.
This is a very interesting topic. Despite the fact that Georgia is an agrarian country, we, however, still cannot compete with the leading players in this field. And we have to focus on these exclusive products that are tied to specific geographical locations, and this way to access the world markets. In this direction, an intensive work is being done together with the state patent agency. We have studied the experience of France, which has centuries-old traditions in this area. It regards legal basis and supervisory authorities. And now we are introducing the system in Georgia. An interdepartmental group was established which included the Ministry of Agriculture, the National Agency for Food, the National Agency of Wine, Internal Revenue Service, as well as the accreditation and research centers under Ministry of Agriculture, and of course Agency for Cooperatives. Georgia has already registered 16 different products linked to the specific geographical positions. These, for example, are chacha, churchela, yogurt, and various cheeses. We're working hard to make all of the products registered and enter the database of the European Union, be under automatic protection, and to secure that Georgian products receive a special logo. And it is much more important than just the realization of products. This will give impetus to the development of agriculture and rural areas as a whole, tie peasants to the specific products, and will provide an opportunity to revive the countryside. Thank you. Has been said a lot, we just have to summarize it. Here in the Autumn Knetis there is an amazing place, a restaurant for the real admirers of Georgian food, a place called Chops by the River. And this is where we scheduled an appointment for our guest.
Добрый вечер, господин Васил. Спасибо большое, что согласились уделить нам время.
Good evening, Mr. Vasil. Thank you for your time. You are a brilliant representative of the business, which was started from scratch, not without the assistance of the state, but at the same time by using your wits and qualities as a businessman. Tell us more details about the specifics of your business, please. Why did you decide to do it, and how did you accomplish this?
Как вам удалось это осуществить?
There was such kind production in Gurjani already in the 18th of the last century. We have established a plant for the production of oak barrels for wine on the basis of the old one, which in fact ceased to exist back in 90s. My friend Givi Gogishvili was one of the managers of this plant. He wanted to revive the production and we decided to do it together. We happened to get in touch with Mr. Alejandro Bastrana. Now he is one of our partners, as well as the Spanish business group. Together we decided to completely restore this production. At the same time, we found out that the government has initiated a program for preferential loans. Our idea and the program coincided. We decided to apply. Oak barrels for wine that we produce are necessary for the agriculture development. Before manufacturing, we conducted a large study of the market. The fact that our project has been approved and funded, of course, gave us a big boost. First, we wanted to start rehabilitation of old barrels, but then we actually rebuilt the factory again. It cost us a considerable amount. Also, it was necessary to purchase special equipment. Everything we were able to realize was due to the financing issued to us from the state.
Скажите, пожалуйста, когда вы...
When you were applying for the loan, we discussed that issue with Mr. MAMUKA KVARATSKHELIA, deputy head of the Agency for Agrarian Projects, and he said that the maximum rate on the loan was 15%, 11 of which were covered by the agency. In your case, did you have to pay any extra interest, or did you fit in this 11?
11% поместились.
იცით რა ჩვენ გარკვეულ თანხას ჩვენ გარკვეულ თანხას რაც არის
This amount is mostly covered by the state. If I'm not mistaken, we pay about 2%. That is, if it is converted into real money, the loan of $500,000 costs us $500 a month. It is very affordable, especially if we are talking about the startup. In any business, there is a risk. First of all, when you are a pioneer in this business, and this program again gave us a big boost.
Вы упомянули, что во времена Советского
You
Союза
mentioned that such a production already existed in Soviet Union, but you have also attracted European experts in order. To set up modern production. Have you combined different technologies or simply revived what had been in the Soviet Union?
то, что было в Советском Союзе.
არა იცით რა არის როგორი მდგომარეობა აქ არის ელემენტარულად ის რომ იმ 80-იან წლებში
In the 80s, the plant operated exclusively on oak from Maikop, but now we have a new equipment. We work mainly with French and American oak, but are also negotiating to revive working with Maikop oak. It's of a very high quality. Generally, there are 365 species of oak, but not all of them are suitable for wine and spirits, and therefore we turn to foreign experts for advice. They are our partners and provide us with competent opinions.
და ის იმათგან ვიღებთ ჩვენ კომპეტენტურს პასუხს.
То есть можно сказать, что сейчас
Can we say that this is a high-tech manufacturing and one of the most advanced in Georgia?
сказать одним из передовых в Грузии.
დიახ, იცით რა არის, კიდე მინდა ხაზი გავუსვა, რომ ეს არის არა მარტო საქართველოში პირველი.
I want to emphasize that this is the only one manufacturing of such kind not only in Georgia but throughout the Caucasus. And I would say more. Just 2 weeks ago we were able to send the first batch of our barrels to Germany. I'm talking about 25-liter barrels, and this is only the first step. I think everything will be fine.
უნდა გამოვიდეს ძალიან კარგად.
То есть ваш
That is, your product is competitive in the European markets?
დიახ, მაგმინდა თქვა, აქედან გამო რა ხდება, ხო ჩვეულებად.
This is what I meant. We use in our production the same type of wood like it's used in France and in Spain. Sure, they have a lot of experience, but we also have experience and professionalism preserved since the 80s. I was able to unite the Georgian working hands with French wood, and in my opinion, the result was good enough. Europe is not ashamed of us. Our prices are lower, while the quality is not worse.
ხარისხიც მაღალი, არ ჩამოუვარდები მათ.
То есть в ваших планах
As I understand, you plan to join European market and then the rest of the world markets, right?
уже и на мировые рынки, на остальные.
დიახ, მე პირველ რიგში მინდა რომ ქართული ბაზარი
First of all, I would like to explore the Georgian market. I want to be friends with the winemakers to help them achieve high quality of their products. Aged wine in oak barrels has a special flavor, and then we can think of global markets.
მე მსოფლიო ბაზარზე გავიდე, ევროპისა და მსოფლიოს ბაზარზე.
Можно сказать, что
Can we say that you have no competitors not only in Georgia but throughout the South Caucasus? Is it the unique production?
დიახ, მე კონკურენტი არ ამყავს. ერთადერთი ხომ მე მინდა
As I've already said, we do not have direct competitors. There are companies that are imported barrels, for example, from France. But I want to note, barrel is a living organism. When transporting the hoop, for example, may weaken. Barrel itself may be damaged. And to repair them again, they call me.
ამ კაცებს მე უკვე შეკეთებაზე მეძახიან და მე ვაკეთებ ამ კაცებს.
вот ваше производство расположено в Гурджанском районе.
Your factory is located in Gurjani region. How has the production solved the problem of employment? How many people are working there? And do you plan to develop business only in Gurjani region or in other parts of Georgia as well?
Непосредственно в Гурджанском районе или в других районах Грузии.
ჯერჯერობით ამ ეტაპზე ჩვენ ვაკეთებ.
At this stage, we will stay in Gurjani. No need to build a plant in a different location. As for the workers, we have employed up to 20 people. But we plan to increase staff as market demand is growing. We used to mainly produce 225 and 500-liter barrels, but as it turned out, a lot of people also want to keep their wine in oak barrels. But they, of course, do not need such volumes. Therefore, we have added the midget barrels, and of course, we need new staff. Also, we have introduced an innovation, an interesting service. We dismantle the barrel and reassemble it, and then subject it to heat treatment. This is called update. We make subjects of furniture out of it. Things like chairs, lamps, and other can be done of it.
ლამაზი და რა ესეთი მისაღებია ხალხისთვის.
Можно сказать, что у вас бизнес...
So your business is growing not only in one direction, but you are actively exploring new ones, right? Right now, for example, we are producing little barrels for home use like 10, 25 and 50-liter volume. They look very nice and cozy, especially if you have a fireplace, so you can spend nice evenings with cognac or wine.
Понятно. Это очень интересное решение проблем старых бочек, да? То есть вы делаете из них...
This is a very interesting solution for old barrels. You make furniture from them. How did you get the idea?
Еще и на дизайнерский момент.
Here our foreign partners helped us. They have such a culture there. They offered us to use the material again. When we looked through catalogs, we realized that it was not too difficult and our equipment allowed us to do things like that. We tried and it instantly became popular.
У нас ситуация в сельском хозяйстве далека от совершенства.
The situation in our agriculture is far from being perfect, but the example of your business, it gives us some hopeful glimpses. What can you advise our businessmen? How to deal with agriculture to achieve success similar to yours?
Добиваться успеха подобного вашему.
It is important to understand that the business should grow. We must bring new ideas. This is the first thing. And secondly, it is necessary to study the market, not after the product is produced and presented for sale, but long before it. It is necessary to know what exactly will be in demand tomorrow. It is important to plan business.
Прогноз дело неблагодарное, но все-таки ваш прогноз на...
Forecast is a thankless task, yet what's your forecast for the near future? With such a production and due to the fact that the state provides agro and grant programs, will Georgia be able to reach a new level in agriculture and to achieve, if not European level, but at least to come closer to it?
В сельском хозяйстве и достичь, если не европейского уровня, то хотя бы приблизиться к нему.
Well, I think so. The state has helped me to create a business, but the product quality is my responsibility. For example, when I made first barrels and sold them, it seemed to me that I gave a part of me, for I truly loved it. And when I see somewhere barrels made by me, I have a special feeling. We must do everything of a high quality. Better it were expensive, but of a high quality. If you focus on product quality, then our market is going to rise, and the world market will accept us.
Большое спасибо.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vasil.
Принять участие в нашей программе.
Good luck with your business.
Сельское хозяйство – важная часть экономики любой страны.
Agriculture is an important element of any country's economy, but in this sphere it is essential to maintain a balance of supply and demand. In Georgia, the agricultural sector employs over 50% of the population. In the US, for a comparison, only 4%. And therefore we need to understand that even the huge potential should be used wisely. And then Georgia, with its diverse climate zones and fertile land, is simply doomed to success.
Просто обречена на успех. Меня зовут Владимир Унанянц.
My name is Vladimir Unanyants. Good luck, and remember, soil is the best investment, and its proper management can give you fun, harmony, and of course, money.
Ну и, конечно же, деньги.